Hello, I'm Power Monkey, and in this tutorial video I'm going to be teaching you about functions and parameters. What you're going to want to know, first of all, is that functions are essentially just chunks of code that can be used multiple times throughout a script. So instead of writing the same code over and over again, you can just create a simple function, and then every time you call that function, that code inside the function will run and execute its code. Okay, so the first thing we're going to want to learn is how to define a function. To define a function, you're going to want to do local function, and then you want to put the function's name. So I'm going to call this function my func, and then you're going to want to do two brackets, so you open your bracket and the other bracket should show up, and then after, if you just drop a line, the end should appear automatically for you. And what you can do in here is that you can put as much code as you want inside this function, and then later on when we call it, it will run this code. So let's say that every time I run this function, I want to add a new part inside the workspace. So what I'm going to want to do is local part equals instance dot new part, and then we're going to do part dot parent equals workspace. So we're creating a new instance of a part and we're placing it inside the workspace. So now if we do my func, so here we are calling on my func and it's going to run this chunk of code in here. So if we run this, you will see that over here the part has been placed inside the workspace and it is just hiding. So that is where the part is. Let's anchor this part. So we're going to do part dot anchored equals true. So now the part will be anchored, and we are going to set the part's position by doing part dot position equals vector 3 dot new, and we're going to do 0 to 0. So now if we run this again, you will see that the part has been placed over here. Now if we were to not have this, so let's delete this, this isn't going to execute this code because we haven't called the function. So if we run this, you will see that nothing happens. And as you can see, nothing has happened. No part was inserted into the workspace because we created the function, we have defined the function, but we haven't called upon it. So to call upon it, you just need to do that. So here we are calling the function, and you can do this as long as you want. So we're going to do wait 1, and then we're going to print this function again. So if we try this, there we go, we have two parts. As you can see, two parts have been placed because we have called the function twice. So now let's actually make this a random position. So let's do math dot random, and then we're going to set this to be the minimum of 1, and we can also do up to 20. So the part will be placed on the y-axis between 1 studs and 20 studs. So if we run this, two parts will be created because we are calling the function twice, and as you can see, the script has selected a random position on the y-axis, and now we have two parts inside the workspace. So now that we know how to create functions and how to call them, we can add parameters to our functions. And parameters are essentially just placeholders where you don't know what the actual value is going to be until you call the function. So let's have a parameter called color. So this is our parameter. The parameters go inside the brackets. You can have as many or as least many as you want. So we're going to have color just for now, and we're going to do part dot color equals color. So we're doing this parameter over here because we don't know what color we want to assign it to yet. So we're using this parameter over here, and then when we call the function, we can put in the brackets the actual value of the placeholder parameter that we have put here. So here we're going to want to do the color3.new, and let's select a color. Let's do a red part, and then let's do color3.new, and then let's select this blue color. So now we're going to create a red part, and then we will be creating, let's just make it like this, and then we will be creating a blue part. So if we run this, you will see that we have created a red part and a blue part, and again it was random on the y-axis. So you can have as many parameters as you want. So if we do, for example, let's do material. So now we have another parameter for the material because we don't know what material we want it to be yet. So we're going to do part dot material equals material, which is this placeholder parameter right here. So now when we call the function, we need to set the material, which we will do enum.material.foil for this one. And then when we call the function again later on, we are going to want to do another material. So let's do let's do grass. So now when we run this script, you will see that two parts have been created. This one has blue grass, and the top one over here has red foil. So that is pretty cool. So let me give you another example. So let's do local function, and then let's call this string func, and then let's add parameters. So let's do message, and then we can do print here is the message, and then we can concatenate this with 2 dots and then just do message because this will be a string when we call the function. So now we have defined the function, and this is what will happen when we call the function. So now we are going to call the function, so we're going to do string func, and then our message is going to be hello world. So as you can see, when we run this in the output, it will print here is the message hello world, because that is the value that we are giving to this parameter when we're calling on the function. So if I run this, you will see if I open up the output, there we go, here is the message hello world. And then we can call this function as many times as we want. So we can do how are you, and we can do another one, we can do string func goodbye. So we call this function as many times as we want without having to rewrite the same code over and over again. So if we run this, you will see that in the output it has printed here is the message hello world, here is the message how are you, here is the message goodbye. So let's do one last example. So let's do local function, let's do math. So let's do num for our parameter. So we don't know what this value is going to be yet. So we're going to do local sum equals 100 minus num, and then we are going to do print, let's do in parentheses 100 minus, and then we can concatenate this with the number. So we're going to do toString to turn this number into a string num. So now this number that we will later assign to when calling this function, it will turn it into a string, and then we will do equals and then concatenate this again, and we can do toString once again and sum, and this will print 100, and the number that we have selected is equal to the sum over here. So now if we do math func, and then let's do 40, and then let's call on the function again and do 88, and then let's call on the function once more and let's do 1. So now when we run this, you will see that in the output 100 minus 40 is 60, 100 minus 88 is 12, and 100 minus 1 is 99. So this was a tutorial on functions and parameters. So if you like this video, be sure to leave a thumbs up and subscribe. Otherwise, thank you for watching this video, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!